Hello, everyone. It's the magical hour of dusk, which is one of the fairy hours of the day. And I thought it would be really fun if I pulled some cards for May Day using my fairy deck, my Nahmad fairy deck. And I also have the Druid Plant Oracle deck here, the Philip Carr Gomm deck that I like. So I thought a little reading for May Day was in order. So let's see what we got for May Day 2026. Right. So I've talked about this deck before. It's the Fairy deck by Claire Nahmad, one of my favorite old decks I've been carrying around for 20 plus years, and I find it magical and lovely and wise. So let's see what it wants to tell us about May Day. We got the Little Man of Wishes, which is suitable for a fire holiday like Beltane. Oh, and the dancer in the moonlight. I love her. She speaks of romance, feminine magic, the connection to the moon, sometimes love. Ah, and the fairy of the sacred stone. And she says that there is great creativity in the act of waiting. And I always get annoyed when I hear that because patience is not always my strong suit. But she says that with patience and with careful building comes solid structures and new creations that are solid and withstand the test of time. If you can see, she's standing on some stones. So she represents the solid earth energy. So building carefully, building thoroughly, creating a good foundation and then building up from there. So it's a card of adulting. Okay, I'm gonna pick one more from the fairy deck. Oh, we got the Silky. I love Silky. Okay. And then I thought I'd finish off with the Druid card. Well, we got a beautiful Druid card for May Day. We got Lady's Mantle, which speaks of magic, alchemy, the universe that you can find inside a single dewdrop, and that beautiful connection with nature, which it's just a perfect card for May Day. Okay, that's lovely. And what a great way to punctuate our reading. Okay, so I'm just going to go through these. So the Little Man of Wishes, again, it's a little fire sign card, not little, but cute. And he speaks of finding joy in the everyday things, in finding the joy in the everyday things. And when you do that, it will light up your whole life in a new way, even if you don't change anything. It's just about your perspective. It's a simple but powerful card. So I really like this card. I did discover this the first time I kept a gratitude journal. I I was really touched at how many pages I had to fill with things I was grateful for. Um, And it's true. I mean, after a long, noisy day, sometimes I love just a quiet moment washing my dishes. I can find joy in things like that. So it's a card of perspective. It's a card of gratitude. It's a card of slowing down and taking a look at things and maybe falling in love with little parts of your life again and feeling inspired by the things that are already in your life. And then from there, I think the flame will grow. It's a very inward card and it's very beautiful in that way. So the Little Man of Wishes. Then we have, to me, is like very solar, and this is kind of very lunar and cool in comparison. She speaks of divine feminine energies. Obviously, she's dancing with the moon there. She speaks of grace, feminine power, and you could probably compare her to the High Priestess in the tarot deck. So doing, connecting yourself with the moon and the night and day aspects, I think, of your life, the internal and the external, looking at both, examining your intuition, examining how do you feel on the inside. The moon is often connected with our feelings, as well as the unconscious sometimes, or our dreams, or our soul life. And this is asking you to take a look at your life from the very simple little things and falling in love with it again. So the two of these are a wonderful balance of the internal and the external. So you're being asked to do this by the fairy deck for May Day 2026, and I'm going to be doing it too. And again, this is this is a card of creative new beginnings, new starts, but they're not quick starts. It could be called like a Saturnine card because again, it's that stone energy, which is very solid and secure, but is just not going anywhere in a hurry. And it's building carefully, maybe taking a look at your life and then trying to see like, what needs further construction or reconstruction, but starting with a solid foundation and knowing that, I mean, really, we could think of the Three Little Piggies story, right? You don't want to build something that will just blow over in one puff. You want a solid foundation, a solid construction. Even as much as you may be desiring something that you're trying to manifest, there is great creativity in the act of waiting. And that's something I think that stone as an element would teach us. And this is a card that says, um, it's a card of success and it's encouraging you, but slowly and carefully and respectfully. So these are really beautiful cards. And then this one I think is a really nice complement to this feminine energy. And look at the crescent moon there, almost a new, just a slight crescent moon versus the full moon. And I always think of, I can only hear Dr. Estes telling her version of the story of Sealskin, Soulskin, where the seal became a human woman and left her sealskin on the beach and she went for a swim. And a suitor who fell in love with her in her human form stole her sealskin away. And I guess he knew how to trick her because she had to stay with him for 7 years because he had her. It was the arrangement in this fairy tale. So she lived with him for 7 years and became his wife and had his babies and probably also loved him, but she just wasn't inside in her true real self. She wasn't a human. She was a seal. And what happened when he didn't give her sealskin back to her after the 7 year period was that she started to crack and peel and dry out. And this is also a card of the soul and of our real selves and of getting back to spirit before we start to crack and peel. So, you know, and I love how there's a seal, her real self, talking to her. It's really beautiful. It's a very sad and beautiful story, and it's really worth a listen. But this card is kind of saying, don't delay returning to your soul life and who your soul identity is. Don't neglect that part of you because you're not whole without it. And it's a really beautiful story, full of longing, really. And it is very elemental too, with the water and the earth and the beautiful animals and her children play a role. But it's a really good lesson and it's a really good reminder. So some really soulful cards here. And even if we just take a moment and light a candle for 1 minute and say thank you to the earth, and think that this is a cross-quarter holiday on the wheel of the year. And what does that mean? And right across from the wheel is Halloween, Samhain, on the Irish Celtic calendar. Um, you can say thank you to the ancestors, thank you to the animals, thank you to the plants. I like to plant seeds and just kind of say thank you to nature in that way, and connect with myself and play some beautiful music and etc. So it's a real reminder to remember your soul life, even if you're busy. Just take a minute. It's important. Otherwise, we'll all start to crackle and peel and dry up, and that's just not what we want. That's never anything that the fairies would recommend for us. The fairies are all about the human heart and the soul, and also enjoying ourselves and being ourselves. And the magic is in being ourselves, and that's kind of what a lot of these stories talk about. Okay, so I always love the Latin for this. Let's see if it's right here. Oh, no, it's not. It has the word alchemy in it, lady's mantle, which I always think is so cool. And you can see the dewdrop right there, which is just worlds in worlds. And it's just, again, it's that elemental earth and water energy. It's very magical. It's like a little prism. And one of the May Day traditions, actually, it's perfect that this is here, is to go outside and put some dew on your face, and it supposedly helps you with um, keeping your youth and your beauty. So how interesting that we pulled this for May Day. Um, I did say a little prayer and I asked my guides, to help me pick well for May Day, and I think I did. So I'll read this because it's a beautiful symbolism, and I've always wanted to grow my own lady's mantle. And someday I definitely will. So let's see what this says. Lady's mantle. And being a cross-quarter holiday, May Day is really also a time of magic. So it's kind of cool. We got this magical card. If I can just find it. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it is dusk and it's getting a little dark. Lady's mantle is at first sight inconspicuous, since its leaves, stems, and flowers are all shades of green. Growing to only a foot high, this hardy perennial is native to Northern Europe, Asia, Greenland, Labrador, and all parts of Britain, where it grows in damp grassland and woodland. The card shows lady's mantle in flower. I'll show it again. It is early morning, and dewdrops, like jewels, rest on the leaves. Burnet roses grow in the background. Native to Britain, these wild roses, like lady's mantle, grow low on the ground and have the sweetest smell of all the roses, a combination of honey and jasmine. There's a Sheila Nagig on the rock. I didn't notice the Sheila Nagig. Where is she? Oh, there she is. And we sure have a lot of feminine energy in this reading, by the way. Sheila Nagig in the rock, inspired by a carving on a church at Kilpick, Hertfordshire, reminds us of the plant's association with the feminine. Okay, so the upright meaning is really concerned with the dewdrop. A dewdrop is a tiny thing, but when you gaze into it, it acts like a crystal ball, revealing the whole world within it. It is reminiscent of William Blake's famous lines, "To see a world in a grain of sand, and a heaven in a wild flower. Hold infinity in the palm of your hand, and eternity in an hour." This card may be reminding you to treasure the small things in life. That's just what the Little Man of Wishes said, so that's cool. Treasure the small things in life because it is in the detail that a life grows rich, and every person, every subject, every event grows richer the more we focus upon it. This card may also urge you to connect more deeply with the goddess in your spiritual practice, or more generally with the feminine principle in your emotional and psychological life. It may be that you have been used to approaching the world and relationships in an analytical or objective way that is no longer serving you. Now may be the time to open to that less predictable, sometimes wilder way of relating to and looking at things that could bring miracles into your life. Well, How beautiful the way these cards all kind of play on each other and almost talk to each other in a way. So, yeah, that's really cool. Your soul, it's really so much of it is about our soul life and slowing down and savoring these beautiful little things that make up our lives. Tiny little things like one little dewdrop. Yeah. It's really a lovely and very magical reading for May Day. I wish I had thought to check where the moon will be on May Day. I'm going to see if I can look this up right now in my book before I go. I think there is a full moon coming up. There is a full moon on May Day. Wow. So how cool is that? So we can all be this lady. Maybe we should all go outside and dance in the moonlight for a moment. And maybe that will be good for our souls and our soul life. So take a look at all the little things that light you up, that make you feel grateful, that make you feel magical. And it looks like you are being asked to create something new, and it's going to be very successful, as indicated by her bouquet there in these bright, fiery colors on this fire festival. And just say a little thank you to the feminine aspect. And something you can do that I do like to do if it's a nice full moon is you can put this as angel light. I've got a whole bunch of crystals here. Citrine, crystals that you love, maybe that you might carry with you. You can put them on your windowsill where the full moon will hit it and charge your crystals with a little moonlight. And even something little like that is just a nice way to honor that that lunar magic. And this card also has a connection with Isis. You can think about goddesses that maybe you might resonate with, like Isis, and just say thank you. And Isis, too, she's got a strong connection with magic, which is a little theme running through the whole reading. And you can read more about Lady's Mantle, too, and its connection with alchemy and plant medicine